All right, and good evening, everyone, to yet another Thomas Tuesday event for October 2021. Hope that everyone is well this evening. There's a lot of awesome stuff planned for the evening. Firstly, the man Doug Blaine himself from Bachmann Trains is here again with more Thomas product updates. And I mean, there's just so much set in stone regarding that, and we know that it's going to be such an exciting time. And the wonderful guest, the inspiration to me, Plowbender. My God, it's just such a such a pleasure to have you here this evening as well. There's many large scale customs I know you have to show everyone this evening, and I know everyone is super excited. So Doug, how are you this evening?
Very well, thanks. Thank you, Christian. Thanks for the great introduction there. And I'm looking forward to the show as well and to seeing what Corey has, Mr. Plowbender, see what he's got going there for his large scale railroad.
And Plowbender, how are you this evening?
I don't know. Good as can be expected, I guess.
And these events would have not been possible if it weren't for Ken Bianco Jr. from TrainWorld. He was the guy who was behind these to begin with. And Ken, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great, Christian, and thank you everyone out there for joining us on TrainWorld Thomas Tuesday. And today's going to be action-packed, and it's already a special event. Doug Blaine from Bachmann. It's always a great presence and great updates because a lot of you, everyone out there tunes in for these updates, what's coming out, what's shipping, what's on the water. And Doug is the Thomas guy. So he's the man at Bachmann who knows everything there is, and he'll provide us with the latest and greatest insights. And Christian, you kind of showed me and brought us up to speed on Plowbender, and his name is Corey, and great videos, some G scale stuff, and I think you alluded to he actually just got the diesel, the G scale diesel, which just came into stock. It was shipping out, and I think we were talking before the show that Plowbender was kind of like the first one to do a video out on YouTube on this beautiful engine. And Doug, I'm sure it's shipping hot like crazy for you guys because it is for us. So we're excited to kind of see that.
It is doing well, and so it's good to see someone has already gotten it on a layout, made a video, and I also want to remind people that we also have the Paxton model too, as a companion to diesel. So those two are out now, and I can't wait to see it in action. Just as a friendly reminder for all our large-scale locomotives and all of our Thomas locomotives in HO and large scale, that they do have the moving eyes that scan back and forth as they go down the track. So I look forward to seeing him in action a little later. And so whenever you're ready for some updates, let me know, or I don't want to interrupt the introduction here to the show. So let me know when you're ready to go.
I think we're all set. We're ready for those updates.
All right, sounds good. Well, there's a lot of buildup, so I hope I don't disappoint with any updates here. I have a few items, not too many. So let's get going here. The first one I want to show you that is shipping now, and I only have her in the package, is troublesome truck number 6. So there's a face. Let's see, I always have problems on this. There we go. There's her face for a nice troublesome truck. And this is a female character, and she is currently shipping now. So that's added to our long list of HO scale rolling stock. And as the number indicates, our 6 troublesome truck. So I hope you get one of those. And also 2 new pieces of rolling stock, which you have seen before. And so these are Toby's museum coaches. There we go. There's the regular coach. And I also have the museum coach here to show you. I
Beautiful.
always have problems with the direction of the camera here. Sorry about that.
That's all
We'll
right.
get it figured out.
I just absolutely love the paint scheme of those museum coaches. The dark
Thanks.
brown
The
and the
light
green.
here, it makes it look pretty dark. I thought I had my lighting figured out, but at any rate, there's the bump, shows the bump out end on, I was trying to get it lit up there. Oh, there we go, a little bit.
Wow.
But anyway, shows the bump out end on the observation portion of the brake coach. And these were, I hesitate to say that they were actually due in today, but we do not have them yet. I don't know if everyone has heard, but there's a lot of shipping delays coming from China, problems with securing containers, and like pretty much everybody else, we're having a trouble getting containers. So this is delayed, but hopefully it will be on the water soon. We're waiting to get this on a container.
Awesome. I hope they're out before Christmas because they'll definitely be on my Christmas list for this year. If they are.
Sounds good. Just to show you these, if I show you something in a package, you know it's that much closer. So these are both in packages, and hopefully they, as I said, hopefully they will be here soon. And as Christian said, for Christmas. Again, there's the brake coach and the regular coach. So great companions to Toby in the HO scale line. And of course, you can put them in another mixed train as well. They don't necessarily have to go behind Toby, but it's a nice corresponding equipment for the story for Toby and the museum coaches. So that's for what's new in HO scale. I don't have anything new to show you right now in HO narrow gauge. Hopefully something will be coming soon. But I do have something that is right up, I think, Plowbender's alley here. Corey, you can let me know what you think of these, and Christian as well, and Ken Bianco, of course. Here is a large scale red coach.
Wow.
These are brand new. First, we're showing them to anybody.
Excellent.
You guys are our #1 on the list here. So this is our large scale red coach. It's a brand new roof. This is a new roof construction for the red coach. And we've combined some tooling from Emily's coaches and Annie and Clarabelle to come up with this model.
Wow.
And we think you will like them, and they're brightly colored. We think they're going to look awesome on an outdoor layout. And or you don't have to go
indoor, Doug.
What's that?
Or indoor, Doug.
I was just going to say, you don't have to go outdoors. Indoors works well.
Oh, come on. It's so much fun going out in the snow.
Well, that's true. I can't argue with that. But speaking of snow, large scale is just great for under the tree. If you want to do a quick layout for under the tree, throwing down some large scale track or G scale track, making a circle or oval, it's just the size for under a tree is fantastic. Any train looks great under a tree, but I think large scale has a great presence, if you will, under the tree. And it's something that you don't have to worry so much about, kids knocking them over or animals knocking them over, because they're big and they're tough. And so either way, indoors or out, I think you're going to like them. So here are, this is the large scale brake coach. I'm sorry, the red brake coach. So, and there's our bump out end for that. And then on the end, we've added a rear lamp, not a headlamp, but a rear lamp.
Tail lamp.
Tail lamp works for me. So there's the red brake coach. So again, these are just, it's a nice size locomotive, or nice size piece of rolling stock for behind your locomotives. They're nice and colorful, and I think it'll make a great addition to a large scale Thomas layout.
Yeah, and Doug, everybody out there may want to get their pre-order on this, because I actually suspect that the Thomas community may have to battle with the regular G-scale community, because that just looks like an overall sleek looking passenger car. So I think a lot of G-scalers also are just going to grab them, and not knowing that it's Thomas the Tank, because it's just so smooth and streamlined looking, really nice car.
I
Oh,
like
I
the way you
remember.
think, Ken, and I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I remember that was back whenever Emily got announced. She got announced. Her coaches came earlier. There was guys
Right.
actually going out and buying those for the Lynn model that Bachmann did.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
So
right,
it's like,
sure.
Increase the number of sales, make it, look like something that the regular guys want to get.
Yeah.
Hey, we want people to enjoy railroading. So whether they use Thomas for a Thomas layout or a standard layout, it's okay with us. As long as people are having fun.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about.
and those red coaches are some of my favorite pieces of rolling stock. I have the HO counterpoints, as Corey knows me as HO boy. I have the HO counterparts. Admittedly, I painted the roofs white to match the earlier seasons of the Thomas television series, but the tooling is the same. So,
there you go.
Holding the brake coach here. This is the Bachmann model. I know the roof is white, but I just painted that afterwards. But the model is the Bachmann model, which is just such a beautifully crafted, sculpted, and just tooled model. This back has to be my favorite part. And Thomas fans out there will remember the episode, A Close Shave for Duck. And there's a part in which there's a runaway with Duck. He's about to crash into the back of this coach. It was James was pulling the coaches, and there's just a close-up shot, like basically almost like in the perspective of Duck. Like, the way they shot it in the old show is just so neat. So it's like, he's about to crash into this coach, and it's like, it's too late, and then he veers into a siding. And like, that's the shot I always think of from the show when I see the back of this coach. And it's just wonderful to see that the angles and the windows, just the attention to detail is all there, with the coach. So
and I must say, Christian, I love the fact that you customize it to your liking, to represent a different time period in the show. That's what makes modeling so great. It's your world. You can do what you want with it. And I appreciate the fact that you did do a modification on it. That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, just really fun stuff always. And
so that's my my new product update. And I'll look forward to bringing out some more products, but before the end of the year. But in the meantime, I look forward to hearing some more from Corey.
That's great, Doug. And Hank American Engine said, Doug and Bachmann are certainly delivering the presents before Christmas. That's great. That's funny.
That sounds terrific. I like that. Good way to put it.
Very good.
And before we go into Corey's presentation, I should give a formal introduction to Plowbender, as I didn't do that at the beginning of the stream. So
yeah, you're not very nice person, are you?
I'm just trying to pace things out, Corey. That's all. Okay, so
hey, I got to give you a hard time.
I can see that, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Anyhow, so Plowbender this evening was one of the first Thomas YouTubers or fans that I was actually exposed to at a very young age when I was back in elementary school. I saw he at the time was an HO person, had an HO layout. I think it was based on the Atlas Berkshire layout, right?
Berkshire Valley route.
Berkshire Valley Mountain, which was one of the Atlas track plans that came with 2 figure 8s, and it was mountainous and such. And the way you scenic it and the way you ran the trains on, I was always just so awestruck just from the way you filmed it, the scenery, the models, and everything else. And from that, like, I was just inspired to then later in the later years to take some of those ideas from your layout and then apply them to my future layout. So, and then even after all these years, I finally got a chance to make my YouTube account and then meet you in person. And now as a large scale Thomas modeler. And so guys, go check out Plowbender's channel. He's got a lot of awesome stuff. He's mostly got large scale Thomas videos. He's the first one to make the large scale diesel review on YouTube. So definitely check that out when you get the chance. And I think he's going to also be showing that this evening, which is awesome. And I look forward to also seeing the other customs that he has to showcase, and also in large scale.
So it's on me now.
Hi, how you doing, Corey?
You asked me that before we got into this.
Well, now we're asking you live.
I don't know. I feel like I'm getting stage fright. Christian may have to finish this for me.
All right. Well. Let's warm you up. Let's lead you in this way. We go one step at a time.
Yeah.
So let's. You did this great video on YouTube, and let me just share a couple of clips, and then you could show your actual model that you have there. Let me just drag this screen over. Hold on one second. Get the. Nope. Didn't stick. Give me 1 second. All right. So basically you're going through, and this is the new G scale diesel, and this just actually was started to ship a couple of weeks ago. Is that correct, Doug?
Yes, you got it.
And so brand new model, never been done before, and just really, and look at that face. And walk us through your video, Corey. I guess how'd you get into videos making? Why'd you want to do this diesel video?
Well, video making, I guess I started that back in, I think, the early 2000s. Just at the time, it was just me with a camera, filming whatever, anything from, a cat fight in the yard to just, like the school bus going by because I forgot to, be out the door in time or something like that.
And then what made you get into videotaping trains, I guess?
Well, first model train layout, wanted to do some videos of it. I was already into taking photos of, my models and everything. It's like, they're model trains. People want to see them running too. So the only way to do that is video them. So, I started doing videos, and this was even before YouTube became a thing.
Right.
I really didn't get into uploading stuff to YouTube until I think 2007. I made a channel, and it really didn't last that long. I think my email was basically my username, whatever it was at the time. But yeah, didn't stick on there too long. Ended up going, just got off of YouTube because I didn't really understand things. Then I came back a few years later when I had a little more idea of what I was doing. Started doing HO videos, but HO, I think I said earlier there, I was into HO up until 2011, I think, at the latest.
And those were the years you had a stunning fan-made Thomas series called Railway Adventures on Sodor.
Yep.
Which is not up anymore, but man, those were just some of the most inspiring episodes you made with the Bachmann Thomas models on your scenic layout.
Yep.
It was
and even a few custom things.
Yeah. And again, it just goes back to how realistic it looked. With the scenery, you had wonderful mountains and grass and landscapes.
Oh, I don't know about wonderful. I mean, some of my landscaping wasn't the best.
You are your worst enemy. That's all I'll say.
Well, I'm just. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not self-centered, I guess. Too much pride out there. Way too much pride.
And how'd you get into Thomas the Tank, Corey?
Probably the same way a lot of kids my age did. You go back to the days of Shining Time Station. I just remember, those days there when it was airing on PBS, and unfortunately, it only lasted for, I think, 4 seasons of even that. But, they say about like George Carlin, the narrator, he left, his contract was up after season 4. So that's probably part of why Shining Time Station ended when it did. But Britt Alcroft created that just to introduce us Americans to Thomas. So it had pretty much done its job at that point. But, that's where I was exposed to Thomas as a kid. And, I've just been a fan since.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So really cool video. Now, can you walk us through, I guess, your layout there, or I guess maybe some of the
everything
samples?
in the background here is just my 1/64 scale stuff. This is my workshop where I do everything. So
well, yeah, don't you have some of those models in front of you, like diesel, to show?
Yes.
Okay, so let's get on to that.
Here he is.
Wow.
I mean, this is so weird because I'm literally Doug Blaine like months ago. I'm literally holding this model. Here's Diesel. He's finally started shipping, but
He looks
I
a
have
little
to say,
devious. I don't know, Christian.
He's devious Diesel.
something I mentioned about this, what really makes the model has to be these external side rods. You know, I was really impressed that Bachmann was able to do these like they did, because I've seen other companies, they've done models of diesel and they just haven't got the side rods right. You know, the Class 08s, they had these distinct external side rods. So, I mean, I was really impressed to see that on this model.
And did you run it in your backyard yet, or you just got to look
I
at
actually ran it around the house just for some running
Cool.
footage for that review.
That
Very nice.
video, Ken, that video you had up before, he has at the end footage of Diesel running around his house.
Oh, that's great. Very
which
cool.
is really nice to see.
Oh, yeah, it looks like you got the troublesome trucks there. Very cool.
But yeah, and then the face, I was really impressed with that. The fact that we got that classic, you know, just I'd say like unamused face. I mean, I'm personally, I don't care for the cheesy grin that Diesel has. I like this face more because, you know, this is Diesel to me. Although I think Christian would agree, the classic evil Diesel face from the model era is where it's at.
Well, you know me, I'm a model era guy. You know, I didn't really grow up with CGI that much, so I just appreciate the realism of the older seasons. But you know, like that's just me, I guess. So.
And Corey, so how'd you get into G scale then? So you got into Thomas. You started with some Bachmann stuff, and now you know you're into G scale, and you know now you got the diesel and going out there. So how'd you get into G scale? Because a lot of people right now are into HO or N scale Thomas. So how can they take that leap into G scale?
Well, as I mentioned to you, I think before we got into the stream, I'm just going to put Mr. Grumpy down. I got into G scale back in 2010. This was right after Bachmann announced their large scale Thomas stuff in 2009. And when I started to begin to see like the unpainted samples, it's like, okay, I got to get this. I got to get that. I just got to have this. So funny enough, I was browsing. I think it was just right after Christmas. I was browsing eBay. There was actually a person that had the large scale Thomas set, basically complete, but it had been, you know, opened and used, I guess. My guess is the person bought it just to put around the tree for, you know, Christmas and then decided to sell it afterwards. Because when I got it, there was nothing wrong with it. You know, it looked clean. There was no broken parts or anything. $189 I paid for that at the time, which was not a bad price. But I think it was about a year or two after that, I went and bought one of Bachmann's big hauler sets. And then I got the Percy and Troublesome Truck set. And something funny about, you know, people would argue the claim that, oh, you know, large scale is so expensive. You can't get into it unless you're like an adult that has a lot of money. I mean, you know, really, the problem is more so space than anything else. Because between those three starter sets I got, I had about $600 into those. And, you know, people think that's a steep price, but in some cases, you'd have just that much alone into a single locomotive. So, you know, starter sets, they have their uses. But
Okay.
basically
so
from there.
Cool. So you got a starter set, and you basically started from there. And
Yep.
do you bring it outdoors, or how does that work?
I've run stuff outside. I've run stuff indoors. I was telling Christian there at one time, I had 2 years there. I had just a small oval track with a couple sidings out in the yard, just set up temporarily for the season. But you know, one change I made was, you know, when I bought the starter sets, they came with steel alloy track and these 1 amp power supplies, which for what I'm doing, I needed something better. You know, you're not going to take steel track outdoors because it'll rust. I went ahead and I think this was a couple years after Bachmann had announced their brass track. You know, I bought a few cartons of that to put outside. Then I bought a 10 amp power supply, which I felt would, you know, give enough juice to run the trains, especially when you run some of these units that have multiple motors in them. And, you know, again, like I said, some people think large scale is so expensive, but really you just got to shop around.
Right.
because I mean, I've got some models in my collection, they cost well over $1,000, and I only paid a few hundred for each of them. So it really pays to shop around. Don't just go to the first retailer you come to. Go to TrainWorld.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's one of those deals. If you're going to get into large scale at a young age, it's possible, but you got to do a lot of research and compare prices. And you'll also know what you're looking for, because like, for example, you're going to get like bigger trains. You can't be using something like a dinky power supply to run them. Otherwise, you're going to have to go out and buy another one. So, again, make sure you got adequate track, adequate power supply, know what your models require to run them, and so on.
Definitely. Now, Corey, I also noticed here in the chat, someone mentioned your season 1 troublesome truck that you customized, and he's hoping that you explain the story behind that and show it off. So do you have that right in front of you?
He's right over here.
Awesome.
Reach over and grab him. This is something I'm honestly envious of Christian. He does HO. He can just like put a bunch of stuff in his pockets and do whatever. Me, on the other hand, I got to rent a U-Haul for all this stuff. Like I had to carry a bunch of this stuff down. I got a shelf in my room there where I keep all my G-scale stuff on, and I literally had to drag all that down here to the workshop.
Hey, it's part of feeling the power of G-scale, I guess.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, here he is.
Wonderful. From the very first season of the Thomas the Tank Engine television series.
Looks sort of like Christian when he wakes up in the morning.
Yeah, especially now that I get up at 5. Now that I'm working at the high school. But yeah, we're not talking about real life stuff here.
That's a beautiful job. I like that paint job. Again, I always like to see the creativity that modelers put into various pieces of rolling stock and engines, and ways to expand the dream of the railroading empire, whatever it may be. So nicely done, Corey.
I believe Doug knows Charlie.
I do.
Yeah. This was right after the N scale stuff came out. Charlie actually wanted me to build him a couple of these. So I went ahead and bought some N scale troublesome trucks from TrainWorld, and, basically made this, but in miniature. And he was really impressed with them there. So, and he was telling me, just this is the classic look of the trucks.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, this here looks like, again, like Christian when he wakes up in the morning. Someone you don't want to mess with. But like you look at like the classic, there's no classic in it, but the CGI trucks, they're all the same. And
yeah.
But
in terms of the face design, but it's just interesting, like starting the second season, immediately they went into like, the separately sculpted faces that they put on the trucks. But the very first season of the show, and pretty much just the very first season with a few shots in the second series, that was like the one and only truck for the troublesome trucks. And it's interesting to see like how they evolved over the years.
Well, I thought it was funny there when I was building this, I was looking at like reference photos, and you've probably seen this too, Christian. There was one episode where they showed like a close-up of the truck, and this front was actually put on upside down.
I think I did see that. Yeah.
It's like, well, if that's the case, like, shouldn't you turn the face 180 degrees?
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's just the charm of the models. See, like, I guess, things like that, because you're using physical models, like you can get away with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, or it's easy to miss things like that. And public will see it as more acceptable, I guess, than if it were to be like computer animated. But
yeah, something with this truck when I built this, some of you are probably thinking I used, like a troublesome truck or an open wagon. The big problem I had with using the troublesome trucks or any of the wagons is I looked at the prices for those, and I think they're about $50 some or something like that. And I really didn't want to pay that much money. I wanted something a little cheaper. This actually started out as the holiday truck, which came in the large scale set. There was a guy I saw on eBay had a bunch of these. He was selling them for like $24 a piece, which, that's a pretty good price for, a Thomas wagon. But I bought that, basically stripped it down, repainted it, weathered it. The face is actually done with masking tape and electrical tape for like the pupils and the eyebrows and the mouth, which, funny, a lot of people talk about, they never noticed that the trucks had mouths, but
Yeah, because they're so small and it blends into the paint scheme of the truck.
But
So.
I believe this was the first custom I did, and I was really impressed with how it turned out. Definitely, a classic look to these. And like I said, that's part of why Charlie wanted a few for himself, just because this, we all remember this from our childhood.
Yeah, incredibly nostalgic.
I don't mean to jump in here, but first of all, it's nice to know that Charlie does N scale, that you do N scale modeling as well. So you cover all the bases from N to large scale or G scale. But what I wanted to ask ask you to talk about maybe was how to get trains outdoors. I know you talked about using outdoor track. Bachmann does have brass track for outdoor use. But talk a little bit about the weather and what's appropriate for running conditions, because I know our locomotives and our cars, do run outside. They can take some weather. You don't want to run them, in hurricanes and extreme conditions. But how to properly care for them outside when you're using brass track as appropriate for outdoor conditions.
Usually when I run trains outdoors, well, first off, your track is one thing to be aware, make sure it's laid down correctly, all the connections are joined. With Bachmann's track, you probably know, Doug, they have the stainless steel screws that you run into the joints, so the tracks don't. Because that's another thing, on hot days, you're going to get expansion, and without those, it's a possibility the track's just going to pull apart without those screws there. So that's one thing. Cleaning track, if you got a lot of it, a lot of these guys, they invest in a track cleaning car. I've seen like all different types. I know LGB, they got like a self-propelled unit. I think it was USA Trains. They did a unit that has like spinning brushes on the bottom of it. But some of those track cleaning cars or units, you're basically just wasting money on them. I've seen some guys, they just get away with using a Scotch-Brite, or they even have like what I use, they call it a bright block. I think this guy makes them himself. They clip right under the Bachmann bobber cabooses, and they're weighted down. They got like Scotch-Brite pads on the bottom of them. You just run it behind your train, and you're basically done. Maybe go back, wipe it off with a rag or something. Kind of funny there. I said about, well, I guess I don't think you were here. I think it was just me and Ken at the time. I was saying about the one train club that I set up with back in Christmas of, I believe, 2018. We were setting up there. They were setting up their modular layout. There was another guy over in the corner setting up his O-gauge stuff on the floor, and I was over on the other side setting up my G-scale stuff on the floor. Well, these guys, they're going around the layout and such with the scrubbing pads, scrubbing their tracks. Meanwhile, I'm just running that caboose around with the bright block on my track and, sitting there, doing whatever, working on something else while the train's running. And these guys are going, it was quite comical. But
you do want to make it easy and fun for yourself. That's for sure.
Well, the guy I got that bright block, the guy I got that bright block from, he's a G-scale modeler. He's got an outdoor railroad and everything. And he was saying since he started using that, he's never cleaned track again. So
sounds good. And on the other side, I've also seen people do, put like a sanding pad on a sanding pad that has a long handle that you would use for sanding drywall at a distance, for sealing areas or what have you. That also works well.
Yeah, I know there's a couple guys on like the large scale board have talked about that. So
and how do you for the cars, when you're running them outside? I assume you're taking them in at night, or do you have an engine shed that you run them into? Some people I know have doggy doors that they run them inside into their basements right through a doggy door. There's lots of different ways to protect the train at night as well to keep it from the moisture.
Unfortunately, I don't have that luxury. It's more so I got to pick everything up, take it inside, and if it starts raining and stuff gets wet, you got to take time, dry it off. I know some of Bachmann Spectrum units, like in the tenders, they have rain guards in case they get a little bit of rain on them. All the water goes down into those rain guards instead of falling down into the electronics and everything. I've seen, like you, I've seen some guys, they got like a designated shed that they just run the trains into, and they got like shelves set up that they can, take one train off, put it on the shelf, put another train down on. And unfortunately, I said, I don't have a setup like that. Maybe if I get something permanent in the future, but not at this time. There's one guy I know, he just leaves his stuff out in the weather all the time. At least, like rolling stock and what have you. He'll take the trains in, but he leaves rolling stock outside. And I was talking to him there one day, and he was saying about he had a big windstorm come through recently. He had trains all over his backyard. Had to take time, put them all on the track. But, me on the other hand, I wouldn't do that because, I look at it this way. Large scale isn't cheap, and just to leave it outside. Funny thing, there was a guy on Large Scale. I remember this was years back. He was showing photos. He accidentally left some of his large scale stuff out during a hailstorm. And he actually had I remember the one photo he showed, it was a caboose, and there was just holes through the roof. It's
well, I've heard of, and read many articles on weathering rolling stock and locomotives, but I don't think that's really the way you want to do it.
Yeah. Well, he was saying the funny thing was his insurance covered it.
Fantastic.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know how that works, but, he was saying about he contacted an insurance company, said that, this is what happened to my outdoor railroad, and it was covered.
Well, I think let's try to prevent that. And when you're not using your trains, bring them indoors.
Yeah.
And
Corey, my worry too is you leave them outside. You got vandals. You got people who are just going to take off with them. Or
absolutely.
And now, Corey, do you have any more G scale models or Bachmann models that you could show the Thomas fans out there?
I got a whole bunch of stuff here.
Oh, definitely, yes.
One thing I should show because. Somebody was requesting this. Reach over here. Bachmann James.
Cool.
This one I actually took time and painted the wheels black.
Okay.
But
other than that, it's basically the same.
Yeah. Now, Corey, just to go back to what you were saying before about track cleaning cars real quick, just because a lot of people I know are excited always about the new Bachmann products. In HO, Bachmann announced 4 brake vans that are track cleaning cars, but I'm essentially really excited about the paint schemes because they've got really, really unique designs. And I think are shipping in 2022 as well. There was a recent Twitter post that I saw on those. And I think the blue one in particular, I found very eye-catching.
That was my favorite too.
Actually, Doug, that may be an idea for G scale to do the same ones, a track cleaning car in G scale. Because in G scale, people need just a freight car, instead of because engines are expensive that do it. Just a freight car and
the
just
tooling's right there.
Yeah.
I'm hearing it.
I'm telling you,
message received.
Yeah,
no promises for if or when, but message received.
Okay, because a while ago there was another company that had a freight car. I think it was a caboose, but the sales were out of this world because it was just affordable for G scale, where it was just a piece of rolling stock, and it just had a little pad that had a little pressure, and it just cleaned it. So I think the Thomas community and the regular G scale community would go crazy for it for sure.
Yeah,
got it.
There are two questions in the chat for both Doug and Corey. Which of the large scale Thomas models is your favorite?
Me personally, and I'm gonna have to set James aside here for a second.
Here we go.
All right, let's go with Doug first, Corey. So
I don't away. Oh man.
So Doug or me?
I just saw what you're bringing over there. So I was going to go for Emily myself just because of the large wheel. But you go first, and I'll come up with another choice too.
Personally, I say Emily has to be my favorite just because she's the largest one Bachmann's done.
Yeah.
And I think they did a really good job with this model. They've got the front bogey wheel here is actually driven. Since Emily's only got one drive wheel, they've driven the front one as well. But, I mean, I just like the railings they did on the tender were something else I liked about this. Emily doesn't come with the 12. I actually added that myself. But
and you also made a custom snowplow for her as well, didn't you?
Yep.
How'd you get the 12 so neatly on there?
Water slides. I actually have somewhere here because believe it or not, I actually did that today. Originally, I had stickers on her, but I got some proper water slides made.
Wow, very cool.
And that's just everything's backwards. That's just an extra one I had. I had to use one of the twos, but yeah,
nice.
Water slide decals. Like I said, I originally used stickers for them, but that was because I didn't have any decal paper at the time.
And you have a snowplow that goes with her as well, right?
Yep, custom made.
Beautiful.
Made this out of tin.
I like it.
Very cool.
Wait, you made that out of tin?
Yeah, it's tin. The back bracket's aluminum.
Wow.
No kidding.
But
Wow. Looks great.
This is designed there. Just slides right over the buffers.
No, wow. Look at that.
Wonderful.
Nicely done. Have you plowed any snow with it yet?
A little bit. A little bit. I'm a little reluctant to try to plow any heavy snow because I worry I'll snap the buffers off.
Oh, come on. You're Plow Bender. That's the name Plow Bender.
Yeah, I'm plow bender, not broken buffers. Or what is it they say? Bust my buffers. But yeah, and then everything's set up where the front coupler can still stay on. There's plenty of room there for it to move.
Wonderful.
You can, I think you can see there how just slips over the buffers.
Wow.
I get vibes from Thomas, Emily, and the Snowplow, the season 8 episode.
Yep. I do actually have here the Thomas plow, which I don't know if Doug knows. These are commanding some high dollars on eBay, so I'm glad I got mine when I did.
Really? Are they?
Oh
wow. Yeah, they're out of production right now, so I'm glad you got one.
Just put that on Thomas and
Wonderful. Such an iconic look. I love it.
Very cool.
Although I think the face is wrong, though. He needs to have that classic grumpy face. Like Christian knows, he shook it and he banged it, and it was so damaged the driver had to take it off, which we'll go ahead and do that now.
Well, now he's happy again.
That's right. But Corey, you also got a question about what couplers you use for your Bachmann Thomas engines.
I actually swapped out the hook and loops with the Bachmann knuckle couplers. The reason why is because I sometimes run various stock with my Thomas models. Like I mentioned to Doug earlier, when the Lynn came out, Bachmann had an ad for the Emily coaches to go with that. And I'll be honest with you, I'm guilty of doing that myself. So, I mean, that's one reason there, but I'll get into some cases too, where I'm running models, where I'm filming my models running around. I want to get some like on the track footage. There's some cases where I'll attach one of my Bachmann flat cars to one of my Thomas engines just because they have evenly matched speed. That's for my models that aren't converted over to DCC yet. And it just makes things a lot easier to have just one coupler system and, go with that. Spectrum stuff is sort of the same way. The couplers on those are actually mounted higher. Well, that's something with the Thomas models too. The couplers on those are mounted higher. So you have to use the supplied lowering blocks to bring them down to standard height. But like large scale Spectrum, the couplers on those are actually body mounted and they sit higher. So you got to get the drop couplers. So I try to get everything to where it's all one system.
Yeah. Makes
just
sense.
makes
That's the
life
thing.
easier.
At such a large
So-
scale, the coupling height will really make a difference.
Yeah.
And the transitioning on course. Sorry.
No, I just want to say that we do provide that transition piece in there so that you can lower or raise the coupler height to match your other equipment.
Yeah.
So it is an easy addition or subtraction to get everything to work together. But I understand your point.
Oh wow, you mounted. Sorry, I'm just looking at your tender right there. You have mounted conductor figures on there. I see.
Yep, that's Emily's driver and fireman.
Nice.
James has a crew as well.
Okay, and those are the Bachmann conductor figures, right?
Yes,
The
I just
Thomas
took the base plates off,
Oh wow,
Very nice.
but they sit on there.
they looked like they were part of the movie.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And Corey, I know one other custom that I did see quite a lot of people talk about on Twitter is your Victoria model. Could you show her?
Yep.
And Winston.
Don't have that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Winston's my new favorite character. How's that? We got to see him somewhere.
There you go. Oh wow.
There she is. People who are fans of the Railway series will know Victoria. She actually started out as a Clarabelle coach. Basically,
Doug's wheels are spinning now.
It's a beautiful paint job, beautiful transformation.
Yep. Trying to remember. One thing I did with Victoria is Annie and Clarabelle, they have the front windows. Those were patched in with styrene and then puttied over to get a nice. I apologize for the phone ringing in the background. The answer machine will get it. But basically patched the front of the coach, also patched the back of the coach because it originally had, Doug knows the pattern. He's got it there with the red coaches. But patched that with styrene. Then I had to carefully go in and score the plastic for the wood detail. And that was done on both front and back. And trying to think, I think that was all I did to the coach body. But the roof I had to modify. You can see the pattern of the Annie and Clarabelle roof. That had to be modified. I sanded all the original details down. And funny thing is these, whatever you call them here, these pips, they're actually made from a marker cap. Just cut to size, glued in place. Simple, cheap. But,
That's great. Just so I could chime in for a sec, that attention to detail you did with the roof, how you showed the difference in the design of Annie's roof and Clarabelle's roof versus Victoria's roof, like, that's also shown with the upcoming Bachmann red coaches too. They also have a different style roof too. Because you look at Annie and then they have like 2 rows of nicks. I don't know what they're called, but then the red coach has 4, and the HO model as well.
Yep.
Yeah, now we're getting over all our coaches.
Ken, where's your coach?
Yeah,
man, you got to have a coach here.
I gotta run to the warehouse. It may take a while.
All right, cue the elevator music. But yeah, like I said, basically had to redo the roof for Victoria. And I guess one other thing I had to do with the coach body is I had to make these steps for the front. And then also these railings, which are just made from bending copper wire. But another thing I had to do was the footboards on the bottom of Victoria. Again, more copper wire for the uprights and styrene for the footboards themselves. Trying to.
And Christian and Corey, do you think a lot of people would like to see Victoria because she's not as well known? And if you're out there, put it in the chat. This way, Doug can make an easy decision.
Yeah. Well, of course,
You're putting a lot of pressure on me here, Ken.
It looks pretty though. It looks really nice.
It is. It is beautiful.
Yeah, but I'm sure as always, like the licensor and such, because with Thomas products, like the licensor always has to agree with them too and such. But I mean, it's just such a beautiful design, like these, this Victoria coach. And I mean, if it was made in HO, I would definitely buy it. I'll say that.
Yeah. One thing to note with Victoria is the way I assembled her, I cannot take her apart now. Because I don't know how well you'll see it. The one upright, or I guess it's on this side, the one upright goes right into the hole where the screw's at. It was one of those deals when I built Victoria, I had to make sure I had her the way I wanted her before I put these footboards in place, because I wasn't going to be able to take it apart afterwards. Although I think I did use the smallest amount of glue when I put these on. So if I ever do need to tear her apart, it's possible without breaking anything. But I guess the last thing is the face. And I referenced the Railway Series illustrations to get an idea of what I wanted. Similar to the troublesome truck that I did, the mouth is done with electrical tape. The eyebrows are done with electrical tape. And the eyes themselves are just stickers. And then the nose is the original Clarabelle nose. I didn't bother sanding that down when I did everything else. But
Very nice.
Yeah, this was one I was really proud of. And believe it or not, I started this for a train show that I ended up not going to, I think back in 2017. And then when I was participating with Division 11 in 2019, I had to hurry up and get Victoria finished in I think about like 2 or 3 weeks. So not bad for something, the time crunch. I'm one of those people though, I try not to rush things, and the roof still comes off.
Nice.
You can still. But
I think you're being not as modest with not bad. It's a beautiful model. It really is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But,
and speaking of coaches, Corey, you have one other coach currently in progress, right?
Yes.
Let's take a look at that.
Some of my viewers have probably seen the few project videos I've done on this. Not anything to really write home about just yet. But this is the current status on my Henrietta project.
All right.
Like, yeah, I know. You're underwhelmed here because
it's a work in progress.
No, but it's such a well-known character, so it's nice to like see that like you're tackling a project on that character.
Well, that's what for the past, Toby came out, and I think he was announced in 2013, and it's been almost a decade now. We still don't have Henrietta, but I think Doug's mentioned this before, that the problem with Henrietta comes down to the tooling, and unlike a wagon or a tanker, Henrietta's basically good for herself and not much else. It's unfortunate, but very understandable why Henrietta hasn't been made. So I basically figured it's like, well, go ahead and try my hand at making my own. Not really the kind of approach I wanted to go to with this. I kind of wanted to look into getting parts laser cut out of styrene, but I couldn't find anyone that was able to do that. So my next best bet was to find something as close as I could get it and work off of that. I've got quite a few things I want to do with this still. I've been trying to come up with something for the balconies, make those look more accurate. I think I finally found somebody that can help with that. But the upper portion of the coach, I want to cut out all these old windows and put new windows in, which are going to look more accurate to Henrietta. And I'm beside myself on the roof, whether I'm going to use this one or I'm just going to make an entirely new one. So
it's a lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah. I'm just going to take things apart here for a second. There goes one of the balconies. Cool. It didn't break. Basically the chassis for this is done. You can see.
Cool.
You see there's like the hook there of all the notable Bachmann Thomas rolling stock, the buffers, and again, the attention to detail is there. It's one of those deals, especially when you look at something like a chassis, is only like the most hardcore avid Thomas fan would be able to tell the difference. Like it's because I I don't want to put you on the spot there, Ken, but like as someone who's like a semi Thomas fan, like could you tell it between that and then like
Nope.
not one? Yeah, so like me though, I can tell the difference because I can see the buffers and the hook there, at the end, at the rear end there, and I can tell that like Corey has made a lot of changes to that chassis to begin with.
Wow.
So.
Well, that's when this was the LGB coach. You notice how these openings here are. They originally had a wheel assembly, which I don't understand why you'd need this on a four-wheeled truck, but you had wheel assemblies that would actually pivot, which, in my opinion, if you're using curves that tight to require such a setup, you're doing a lot of damage to your locomotives at the same time. Because I hear guys in large scale, they talk all the time about, these people that use 4-foot diameter curves. They're good for occasional running, like under the Christmas tree or what have you. But if you're running your trains full time, it's going to cause unnecessary wear on the wheels, the track. It's going to cause damage to gears, gearboxes, strain on the motor. It's just not worth it. So, like I said, I didn't understand why they had that setup on there. But this is actually, these are actually Bachmann wheels and custom made parts here to accommodate mounting them. I like steel wheels because the plastic ones seem to pick up the dirt and move it around a lot. But yeah, and I mean, the coach actually sits a little higher because of these wheels being bigger than what was originally on it. And then I had to take time and accommodate the Bachmann couplers on this, which they're pretty much just like the Thomas models. They got the lowering block and everything. Although, again, like I just said, these have been lowered. If they were using just the standard mount, I probably would have had to cut into the buffer beam to raise them up some. But unfortunately, this is about as far as Henrietta is in terms of completion. Like I said, I've still got a lot of work to do with like the coach body and what have you. But
it's great to see it so far, and like I'm sure in due time, like you'll be on again and then showing the final project.
Oh, I hope so.
In the later months, which will be great to see. Yeah. Now that we're running at an hour, like, why don't you show your large scale Thomas model? Because one thing that every single Thomas Tuesday stream ends with, at least so far, is the large scale Bachmann Thomas model. So maybe you should show yours and like show, especially since Doug is here, you should definitely show yours as well.
Well, he's happy he doesn't have a snowplow.
But you've got the standard. You got the standard, I see. Now, you said at some point you'd like to get like some model era faces too, right? Like different expressions to put on your large scale Thomas model.
At some point, yeah, I think it'd be a nice little something to get. This isn't actually the standard. This is the one that has the DCC on board. It's upside down, but yeah, Thomas is fitted with DCC. Percy has it. Those were from factory, although I did get I got 2 of these sound modules. Still waiting on a third one, but I'm planning on putting these in James, Emily, and Toby.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Just a quick note on those. You should get those as soon as you can because they're going to be out of stock. So grab them while you can.
Oh, thanks for the update.
You're very welcome.
Oh man, well, wonderful, Corey. Now, by any chance, do you have any running footage of the models with sound at the moment?
Well, really, if you go back to the start of my one video I did of the trains running around, you can hear the sounds, or at least the chuffing sounds.
Got it. So we can check out.
Actually, look up if you can. I have a DCC video with the Bachmann Dynamis system that has the models running with the sounds and what have you. Okay. That's what another reason I'd like to get James, Emily, and Toby fitted with it is because they got the whistle sounds and like Toby's got his bell, so I think it'd be nice to have those. And I mean, like they said in the ad, bring your Thomas layout to life with all this Odor sounds, so or something like that. I'm at a loss right now.
Well, that's all right,
but.
I'm going to have you write some ad copy for us next time. That was
But-
great.
You know, they just saying the Thomas stuff is no different. Once you add the sound to these models, it just brings them to life. It's a lot more appealing than just listening to the motor run.
Yeah.
Which,
And Christian, the people are getting upset. They want modelers from the UK or the rest of the world as well. We keep on bringing on amazing American, I guess, Thomas the Tank panelists, but we need some diversity now.
Definitely. I'm just considering the fact that over there it's midnight,
Yeah.
during the stream. So, I mean, if they're up to it, I'm more than happy to have UK modelers on here as well.
I couldn't believe it. I think there was one evening, I think me and a friend of mine, we were doing a live stream on YouTube, and I had one of my viewers from the UK. He was saying it was like 2 a.m. in Wales. It's like, what are you even doing up at this hour?
The Thomas tribe has spoken. That's it.
Oh,
All right, Corey. Well, that was amazing stuff, and hopefully this invites people to get into G scale. And I know there's a lot of Thomas fans out there who have HO, double O, or N scale or narrow gauge. But G scale is a cool, unique, different scale that it's nice to get into. And I think just by showing your models and showing some kit bashing and Sir Topham Hat over there, I think people will
had to make an appearance.
like to get into that for sure.
I like the way you used our other G scale figures as well on some of the as modeling details for the locomotives. That was very creative. I had not seen.
Well,
that
I mean,
before.
it's like like I said, I got other like the Spectrum stuff Bachmann's done. I've got those in my collection, and what do they come with every time? Driver, fireman. So you got to have those in the Thomas models too, or it just doesn't look right.
Yeah,
good use of the figures.
Definitely, especially the fact you took off the green base too. Just to add that extra realistic dimension. So,
well, I mean, another thing with this base that they just don't. Well, like Emily's the perfect example. If these have the bases on them, they can't fit on that little edge of the tender. So you take it off, and you always got the option to put it back on, anyways.
Now, out of curiosity, how did you take off the base, real quick?
Just get an X-Acto knife, wedge in between the foot and the base, and just carefully twist it, and it'll pop right off.
Got it. Great. Well, a lot of exciting comments in the chat too. They're always happy to see these Thomas Tuesday events. And Corey, just thank you so much again for showing the Season 1 Troublesome Truck Victoria, and of course the large scale diesel, one of Bachmann's latest Thomas products that had just come out. And guys, if you're a large scale Thomas guy or just a Thomas fan in general interested in getting into G scale, get onto TrainWorld.com and order that large scale diesel. You will not be disappointed with the model. That's for sure. Corey, and check out Corey's review, because he too even stated in the review he was very impressed.
I don't know if I think Ken was asking me about this maybe before we started here about Paxton there. I've had quite a few people asking me, are you getting Paxton? When are you getting Paxton? It's like, unfortunately, I'm at the point right now where I'm running out of space to store all these. And, one thing I said, it's like, I wouldn't mind having Paxton, but it's like between lack of space and lack of funds, what am I supposed to do? I actually had a friend of mine there who's like, do you want me to buy Paxton for you? And I'm like, oh, come on. I don't want to take advantage of you, man. But, I'm like everyone else. It's a nice model, but
yeah,
things being what they are.
The thing. Yeah, I'd probably, if I was doing G gauge, I'd probably have that same thought in my head. But with HO, it's like it never ends. And sometimes I got to be careful because it's just one thing after another. And soon enough, I'll be at that problem too, Corey. So.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if anyone informs you have too many trains, get rid of them. You don't need that negativity in your life.
And for Bachmann's part, I'll say we'll just keep them coming, and you guys will have to figure it all out.
There you
go.
Well, I definitely got my eye on those red coaches, and I know a couple other people that they're interested as well.
Yeah, I remember when those were announced at MRA. You were the first person I texted, Corey, and Doug, he was so excited when those got announced. So
Excellent.
This guy wants those red coaches,
yes,
along with some other red coaches.
My HO Percy, yeah, I run the red coaches behind him all the time. Him, James, and Duck, I would say those are the three most common. So.
Excellent.
Very cool. Well, Doug, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate you and Bachmann for being so supportive of the Thomas community and coming on these shows to provide updates. Our shows wouldn't be as exciting without you guys, and we really appreciate your participation. Doug and Bachmann, everyone, the team over there. It's just very important to all of us. So if you're still in the chat, still watching, give a big shout out to Doug and Bachmann and thank them for their support and participation. And also give a big thank you to Plowbender Corey out there for coming on and showing us his G-scale display of Bachmann goodies. So it was really neat. And that's awesome stuff. So thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thank you both.
Thank
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Christian. And it's a pleasure to meet you, Corey, as well.
Really great to meet you too, Doug. But I've wanted to meet you for a while. I wanted to meet Ken for a while. I don't really care too much about Christian. I see him every day. But really great opportunity, and I do appreciate you guys having me on.
All right. Well, thank you, Corey. And if you're interested in participating in Thomas Tuesdays, please reach out to Christian Thomas at trainworld.com. Christian?
Yes, that's the email address.
That's the one?
The new one that we're going to start rolling out.
All right. So reach out to him and we'll keep Christian busy.
Sounds good.
All right. And thank you, everyone. You can get all your Thomas trains at trainworld.com, all your Bachmann products at trainworld.com. Thank you, everyone, so much. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Corey. And